Welcome to this edition of Banyan Tree. As we all know, Banyan Tree is an extended leadership connect program where eminent leaders from outside the organization are invited to address our folks. Today, we have with us Dr. Ravi Thodla, professor in finance and a research guide. What the world knows about him is that he graduated in commerce and went on to do masters in it as well. He enhanced his competency in the field of finance by pursuing MPhil followed by doctoral in the area of finance. In his career of 33 years as a professor, he has also created finance courses for several B schools in Bangalore. Today, he is a registered guide for doctoral programs in about 3 universities in India and has coached and mentored thousands of students to become leaders in the field of finance, auditing and research. But what the world doesn't know is that he was born with iris coloboma in his left eye and was termed visually challenged. But this did not hamper his confidence and did not deter him to become what he wanted. So, let's welcome Dr. Thodla to share with us his thoughts on overcoming barriers in life. Welcome, sir.
Good evening. Am I audible? Okay. I'm truly humbled because though it was a very brief introduction, it was also very powerful, and somehow hearing it from a third person makes me look back and I wonder how I had the strength and the courage to achieve, or at least attempted to achieve, what I have done so far in my life. And when I do that, I become a little nostalgic and then I go back to the early stages of my career, or my life rather. See, the most impressionable age for anyone in life is the period that is between the 4th year and the 10th year. If you are a good observer, you will observe a lot of things that happen around you, and if you are a keen student, you would also learn a lot from it. I am not talking about what happens in a classroom or what happens in your education. I am talking about what happens in somebody's life just by observing a few things around them and how they learn out of it and how they use that as a leverage to overcome the challenges. In fact, as I said, the period between the 4th and 10th year in my life was very, very important because I grew up as the privileged grandson, one of the privileged grandsons of an illustrious school teacher who spent 38 years of his life teaching students at the school level. But what fascinated me most was that when I had the occasion to go out with him at the street corner, in the marketplace, or in the temple, or wherever he goes, he would always be stopped by a bunch of students who would come in and remind him that they were his students. He also had a phenomenal memory. He would recall them by name, he would recall them by batches, and he would actually talk to them, and they would, in fact, invariably most of them say that what they were that day was solely because of the strong foundation that was laid in school, particularly by this great man. Probably that was one of the reasons that created a strong impression in me. I don't know whether it was conscious or whether it was unconsciously, the decision was made in my mind that I should become a teacher. That was the first thing. My grandfather was a disciplinarian. He said there are 2 important things in life. One is, of course, discipline. If you have discipline, all else will come to you automatically. The second thing is his emphasis on education. He would always demonstrate the importance of education by giving us 2 simple choices. Alternate 1, study well, be like your uncles. My eldest uncle was a gold medalist in engineering in the undivided state of Madras when Andhra and Madras were combined. He went on to get rank number 3 in Railway Service Commission. He started his career in Indian Railways. He went up to the position of diesel director. Then he started his own entrepreneurial venture, one of the first of its kind in the country to start diesel locomotives in a small scale with the help of the State Finance Corporation of Andhra Pradesh. So he was a glaring example, or he was the iconic example that we had in life, and we need to look at it, and that was alternative 1. The second choice was even simpler. If you don't study, you will end up packing groceries like the boy in the shop opposite. The first one was an incentive, the second one was a deterrent. So both of them spurred us, all of us. In fact, we are 6 brothers, and I am fortunate in being the 4th because I had 3 more elder brothers to observe. So that was about my grandfather and my uncles. Then the brothers who set up very high standards in the family by doing what they did. My eldest brother runs his own computer consulting company called iMorph, headquartered in USA. He spent 6 months in USA and he spent 6 months in India. He is also privileged to win the latest Green Evangelist Award given by NASCAM. So he is a very important member of TAI. He is actually a very important member in NASCAM, and he has taken up the job of mentoring students at the college level, especially in engineering colleges, and he is consulting for at least 5 to 6 colleges in South India today, apart from what he is doing in developing web-based products for his company. So observing these people, I realized that the only thing in life is that when you have I wouldn't even say a handicap, when you have a small disadvantage in terms of not having or not enjoying the kind of vision that the others do, you try and overcome that with the other mental capabilities that you generally possess. The other mental capabilities that you generally possess would more than compensate you for what you do not have in terms of a visual advantage. This is one important thing that I learnt in life at the very early stage in my schooling. In fact, I had every excuse to run away from numbers because it was so difficult for me to see the board. Though I used to sit in the first bench, I couldn't see what is written on the board unless I go very close, which is very difficult. So that gave me enough excuse to run away from numbers. But I thought that that would not be the right thing to do. I wanted to challenge the numbers that eluded me in the physical form on a blackboard by capturing them mentally. I captured all these numbers by mind, and I became what trainers generally call as auditory learning. I became an auditory learner very early in my life. I always had a good friend sitting next to me who would read out to me what is there on the blackboard. So I would work out my math, I would work out later part of the day life, I would work out my accounting, I would get into my finances with somebody always reading the numbers out for me. Over a period of time, I developed the habit of grasping these numbers just when somebody read it out, and I also was blessed with immense memory to retain these numbers, so that once I heard a problem being read, I don't need a repeat because I can read it again. So this is something that has happened in our lives. So when we do that, I always had this impression that the positive side of life is more important than the negatives that we face in terms of our inadequacies. For example, the coloboma in the iris that was read out in the introductory speech. Normally, when it affects an individual, it affects both the eyes and renders people completely sightless. 95% of coloboma cases are cases that impair both eyes, whereas in my case, for some reason, I don't want to use the word God, but I don't want to use the word creator, but for some reason I was blessed with the vision of about 15% in the right eye that gave me all the courage and the strength and the motivation to learn, and because of that the deficiencies could easily be overcome by the other advantages we could actually leverage. So next slide. So when we look at it, actually I learned a few things from others by observation, as I stated, because you are learning through reading books, you are learning through listening to people, you are learning through interacting with people, all come at a later part in your life. The early observations that you make always teach you a lot more than what you learn by reading, listening and other things in your life at a later part of time. I was blessed to learn that the simple thing in life, the simplest thing in life is to say no to anything. I have seen people doing it. I also found out that the difficult thing to do is to say yes. So my brothers taught me that it's always better to start with difficult things in life early so that life becomes easy later. So I learned to say yes to anything. If somebody gave me a bunch of papers and said, I want you to go through these papers and gist this for me and give me in 2 pages the gist of the whole matter, recklessly I would say yes, because I thought that was a challenge that all of us should take. I see in many places when the students come into an institution, because I was particularly in the later half of my career, I was particularly involved in teaching management graduates. When the management graduates come into the institution, the first thing that they need to be taught is the fact that they should do difficult things in life first. If they do difficult things in life first, it will always be easy for them to do the easy things later, because you have already tuned yourself to doing the most difficult things, so any easy thing becomes much easier. So that is what we learned, and that is what all of us should inculcate in ourselves for making a progression in our career path. So the next thing that we always say is that, see, you must develop a devotion to your workplace. I believe that workplace is my banyan tree. What is this banyan tree symbolizes? What does it symbolizes? A banyan tree generally is supposed to symbolize wisdom. We generally associate it with the great Buddha. Now all of us cannot run away and go and sit under a banyan tree for the simple reason that we have a lot of responsibilities to discharge. Because we have so much of responsibilities to discharge, convert the place where you work as your banyan tree. For me, classroom was a banyan tree because I always thought that the best learning happens only when you are in a class. Even today, I am close to 58. I will be completing 58 this May. Even today, after doing it for so many years, the excitement that I have in me when I get into a classroom is still alive. As long as that excitement is alive, and as long as I can relate to a bunch of students sitting on the other side of a classroom, I would continue to teach. Of course, I have also now actively engaged in the later half of my life. I also took up a lot of research. I have also taken up mentoring and guiding students in their career path. But to me, teaching remains a passion. I believe that it will continue to remain as a passion for the rest of my life, because when people ask me what you are, I say a teacher and a teacher for the last 3 decades. Because as I said, that passion to share and the passion to learn will keep us running. If you think that you have learnt everything and if you sit back, let me tell you that that is going to be the beginning of our downfall, because there is a lot more to learn these days, and since there is so much more to learn and since there is so short a time to do that, we should make the available opportunity and make the best use of it, because time is running out and there are people who come with more competencies. There are people who will come and challenge you in a classroom, and you need to be constantly updated. Previously, literacy was defined as your ability to read and write. Today the definition has changed. If you are unable to update yourself in your chosen area of specialization, you are supposed to become illiterate, because somebody else will come and point out that what you are now doing is reveling on past glory rather than looking into the future. So that is something we need to keep in our mind. Most importantly, I also learnt in my professional career over a period of time that there are a few sayings that generally do the rounds in this world which really have no meaning. In fact, one that fascinated me most in the early stage of my career is the elderly colleagues, the professors, the head of the department, and the other ones would always complain about the students in a very rhetoric way. They used to use this saying that I can only take the horse to the pond, how can I make it drink? When I heard it the fourth, fifth and sixth time, I started thinking about it, why people say this, because I was new to the career. Then I realized that it is not the job of a teacher to take a horse to the pond. He has so many other important things to do, and the least of it is taking a horse to the pond. Don't do that. Instead, try and create a thirst in the horse. If you create a thirst in the horse will go to the pond, it will find water and it will drink. It's not your job. Why should you do it? So this is an important learning that came to me at the later part of my life. Very recently, about 4 or 5 years ago, when I was in Alliance, the chairman and chancellor, Dr. Madhukar Angur, who is a David M. French professor from Ross, Michigan, USA, he was a professor of marketing who came back to India to head this Alliance University. He used to say something which was really fascinating. He used to quote Jonathan Black to say that, quote, it is amazing to know how much we can all achieve together as long as nobody cares who gets the credit for it, unquote. That made a lasting impression on me. Of course, I was not much given to going to the forefront in anything that I do, but it reaffirmed my faith that when it came to laurels, push your team up front, and when it came to taking responsibility or brick pads, you go up front and take it. So this is a very, very important lesson that I learned in my life at a later point of time. So continuously over a period of time, when we practice that and when we do that, we will realize, because there were examples. In fact, Dr. Abdul Kalam was in Alliance University in the year 2009 for our convocation function. He talked about how his boss took all the responsibility when the 27 crore project fizzled out in the year 1987, and in the same spirit, how he pushed Dr. Abdul Kalam to the forefront when the next ISLV launch was a great success. So a lot of learning for all of us, because I don't think that I have become a leader in any sense. I continue to remain a teacher, and a teacher only leads by example. What you do or what you can do, you can tell your students to do. What you are not going to do, you don't tell your students to do. It is so very easy for you to preach what you don't practice. That is the simplest way of life. But if the student finds out that you are preaching what you don't practice, then obviously you lose all respect from the community. So the best way is to mentor them, and to lead by example is what we wanted to do. So as we progress in life, as I said, the easy thing for all of us is to go ahead and do as much as we can without wondering whether this is really our job. Everything becomes our business. Everything becomes our business. When we are in the initial stages of our career, everything becomes our business. I know that people run away from numbers because they say that I don't like finance. The moment they come into a classroom, I'll ask them, how many of you are not comfortable in finance? A lot of hands will go up. I said, why? They'll say, I don't like numbers. my next question would be, you don't like them even when you see them in your bank account? Then they will all say, no, we will love it. So, the more you say you don't like it, the more you must focus on developing a liking for it. I always tell the people that the distinction between finance, marketing, HR, operations all exist only in a classroom, probably in a B school. Once they move out, once they come into the organization, everything changes. Everybody is supposed to know everything, and because everybody is supposed to know everything, the easy thing to do is to learn the difficult thing first in the classroom. Learn the difficult thing called finance in the classroom, and also learn the other difficult things like marketing and HR. When you come and practice it, you will always have a problem. Okay. So, I just wanted to conclude with one more last slide. It's self-explanatory. Only says what I can do. You can do better and you can do faster. You can do much faster. My students will come and ask me, sir, you are reeling out numbers from your head. How are you able to do it? I said, if I can do it, you will take exactly half the time that I have taken to do this, and you will do it much faster and you will do it much better. As I said, when you are able to convert an impairment or a disadvantage by leveraging your other competencies, the best way to achieve is to identify what is your competency and focusing on how to use that to leverage your other strengths and achieve what you can in a very short span of time. So, my suggestion to all the people here, it is not that I am here to give you an advice, or I am not here to educate you or anything. I am here just to share my experience. The ultimate is that if I can do that, everyone can do that, everyone can do that much faster. The advantage, sometimes when I see a gathering like this, I can't help becoming a little green. I become envious. That is because you have so much more time. You have so much more time with you, and we can't dream of having that length of period. And this is a golden opportunity. That length of time should be leveraged, and it should be used to enhance all your capabilities. I have seen people who have come from very humble backgrounds in life achieve so many things in life today, because there was a requirement for somebody to identify the competency in them and tell them that they possess these competencies and direct them properly in doing that. There are plenty of examples in my life. When I took up this teaching profession, there were so many students whom I have actually taken credit for giving guidance. Of course, whatever they have achieved is only because of their sheer hard work, and whatever they have achieved is only because they had the focus on what they were doing. But if there is anything, I can take credit for telling them that they possess these competencies and they are all successful in life. I don't think I have really achieved anything in life if you look at it from that point of view. For example, I have not won a Nobel Prize in finance. I have not won an award in writing a top class book or anything like that, but I believe that by developing a set of competent students who have taken responsible positions in this country, I have done my job, and that gives me immense satisfaction, and I hope to continue doing this for long time in my life. Thank you so much. I am open to questions.
Dr. Thodla, my name is Sunya Mukherjee.
Hi.
Hello sir, welcome to Infosys. I would like to know a little bit about your childhood days, in terms of how was the reaction of your family members. Were they supportive to you, or had they written you off in the childhood? About your relatives, about your neighbors. your teachers, society in general. And I also would like to know if you can share some incident from your life where you were denied an admission because of this inadequacy, and how did you overcome that?
Okay. For the first part of your question, in fact, my family was very protective. They were so very protective that they did not send me to school until my 8th class, 8th year. They were so very protective, because my grandfather always worried that I may have problems with other students, I may have problems reading a book, I may have problems reading from a board. So because of that, he was so very protective. He was not very enthusiastic in sending me to school. But the uncle that I mentioned, who is this engineering graduate from Madras, he said, "What nonsense are you doing? This is not the way to bring up a child. If a child has a disadvantage, the child will learn how to overcome this disadvantage by leveraging on other competencies." So at the age of 8, I went to standard 1. Of course, the neighbors were all actually very friendly. They were all very good. You know, young students are generally a little, when they get upset, they generally try to abuse you by using your disability. Sometimes it happens in the society, but at very early stage in my life, I learnt. This was again reaffirmed, because see, there was this interview that I saw Richard Attenborough doing with one Shashi Kumar in Doordarshan. When Shashi Kumar was interviewing him, this happened somewhere in 1980s, when Richard Attenborough came to India to shoot that film Gandhi. After the usual questions, Shashi Kumar asked Attenborough, "What really made you choose Gandhi as the theme of your film, when there are so many other things that are happening elsewhere in the world?" Then he said, "I was reading this autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi, particularly that event where Gandhi was thrown out of the train in Joburg. Gandhiji got up, dusted himself. Gandhiji did not say, 'I am stunned.' He did not say, 'I am shocked.' He did not say, 'I am surprised.' He only said, 'It is strange that a man should feel so honored at the humiliation of a fellow human being.' Once I heard that, I used to repeat this to anybody who made that kind of comment on me, and after that everything quietened. I never had any problem. This was as far as my childhood was concerned. As far as the admission to schooling was concerned, absolutely there was no problem. Every school that I went into gave me actually almost a red carpet welcome. In fact, I was also a fairly good student, though I was a little what you would say, a little naughty in the early stages of my life. When it came to learning, I was equally good. I could compete with everyone in the class. I was excelling in math, because as I said, because number was a challenge, I thought that I should excel in numbers. English was my other fascination. Though English was my other fascination, I always spent time with numbers, because it was math first and then it became accounting and finance later, where it involved numbers. Every school and every educational institution that I went into, including the institutions that I went in to teach, my interview for the first job in Chennai in DB Jain College was fascinating, because the interview was conducted by a panel of professors along with the secretary of the college. The panel of professors, as you just said, were a little hesitant in taking me for two reasons. One, of course, is the defect. Second one was, I was a very diminutive figure, weighing about 42 kg, frail, thin, not much to look at. On top of that, there was also a visual disability. They were hesitant, but the college secretary, Dr. C.L. Mehta, he said, "Nothing doing. I see that he has a lot of competencies. You have to take." This happened in October. I can exactly recall the date. It was 10th of October 1979. I joined the college on 17th October 1979. I served at the institution for 28 continuous years until 2007, until June 2007. So the only hiccups that I used to face is when I was to read out of a board. I'd go, I had the courage to walk up to the teacher and say, "Sir, I can't read out from the board." Instead, I would recall what you said just now, and mostly I would be able to narrate what you said, though not in exact terms. So he permitted me to do that. So when it came to reciting something in the class, it was not from the blackboard, it was from the words that I captured in my mind. So I used to sit quietly and listen to the teacher. I would shut myself completely to everything else around me, listen to him, and then I would reproduce that completely. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for having accepted this invite to come to Banyan Tree session. We're really privileged to have heard from you. I have two questions. During the course of your address, you thanked someone and you then put God in inverted commas. I would like to understand the reason why behind it. And my second question is, you talked about discipline. If one is disciplined in life, everything follows. Then how would you rate spontaneity against discipline?
Okay, the first question first. I thank somebody because, see, all of us are not believers. There are some of us who believe, there are some of us who don't. So, for me it is God. For you, it is a superpower. Or it could be the divine nature. Or it is something in your mechanism, the human mechanism, which has this great balancing act. It gives you something, takes away something from you. So, if you are a believer, I would still say it is God. If you are not a believer, I would say that it is the great mechanism in your body that balances one for the other. So that is the reason I put that in inverted quotes. That is number one. The second thing is spontaneity comes at the later stage in your life. That spontaneity also comes out of disciplined learning in the beginning. There are a few things. Of course, we have whiz kids. There are a lot of whiz kids that we have seen. I just read a couple of days ago this article about a 17-year-old whose startup was bought up by Yahoo for 30 million. Comes out of spontaneity, no doubt. But for him to do that, he has to reach a certain level of learning, and that learning requires discipline. My discipline is not discipline about going to the class early, sit there in the first bench and develop the habit of sleeping with your eyes open. That's not what I mean. My discipline is systematic learning. That systematic learning process to me is divine, and to me that is discipline. If you exhibit discipline in your learning, everything else will come to you. That is the discipline I meant. I don't talk about the discipline that is generally imposed on us. I don't also talk about the discipline which quells your ability to question. There was one slide which I probably missed out. There was one about questioning. See, early stages of our life, people generally expect us to obey without questioning. There is unflinching compliance. You need to comply without any question, because that is what it is. Listen to me and do it, no questions. That taught me that when I grow up and when I bring up my children, I will encourage them to question. Sometimes I have had a lot of discomfort answering some of the questions, because there is always that big why for anything that you say. But I still encouraged it, because I thought that questioning becomes very, very important in life, because there is so much more to learn by questioning. Shakespeare, when he was talking about this drama Merchant of Venice, when through Portia he was explaining the quality of mercy to the character called Shylock. He said, the quality of mercy is not stained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesses him that gives and him that takes. I just modified it a little bit and I said, questioning is twice blessed. It blesses him or her that asks and him or that answers. I will tell you today, very frankly I will tell you, much of my learning happened in a classroom because I was questioned in the classroom. I was questioned by my students, I was challenged by my students, he taught me so many important things, how to make teaching so simple. So that questioning is very, very important, even to the extent that the first question that I came across in my life, I never forget. I always quote it in all the speeches that I make wherever I go. The first question that I faced when I was a teacher, I stepped into the classroom. I was given the accounting class. These are fresh students who came into accounting from various backgrounds like science, mathematics, or whatever. And I was explaining to them the preparation of a balance sheet. And when we were talking about it, I said, these are the items that you will have on your liability side. These are the items that you will have on your asset side. One of those items was a plant. The item was plant, and the value was about 20 lakh rupees. The student curiously got up and said, sir, I have a question. I said, please go ahead. He said, sir, you stated plant as 20 lakhs. Why would a business need plant worth 20 lakhs? He was thinking about a botanical plant. I was trying to explain to him that. So that taught me that whenever I mentioned plant, I should first explain that plant is nothing but an array of machines in a factory or an array of systems in a service organization. There are so many things that you learn. So when I said discipline, I said the discipline in learning, nothing else. Thank you. That's all.
Good evening, sir.
Please.
If you were not a teacher, what else you wanted to be? What are your other passions in your life?
I never gave a serious thought to that so far, because it's like asking a fish, if you can't swim, what else would you do? I don't think the fish has an answer. But I probably think that if I was not a teacher in that sense of the term, like teaching in a college or a school, I probably think that I would have become a trainer in a great organization like Infosys maybe.
I would now like to call on stage Rajshekhar Pide. Let me introduce him. He joined us in 2008 and he's soon reaching the Club 5 mark. He heads Cisco, one of the oldest and biggest account of Infosys BPO.
Just one last sentence I want to utter. So coming to Infosys and talking to a group of young students is, I say students because not only by force of habit, it's all because we are all learners in that sense. So it's a great privilege. One day I will tell my grandchildren about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll now move to Club 5 felicitation. Devesh Payal. Shivnath Mukherjee. Haritha Ji. Keelapanda Tanik Nehru. Vijay Kumar Desai. Alekhya V. Lavanya K. Satish. Lima ML. BP Ponanna. B. Kumuda. Shweta Rallapatti. B.M. Nirmala. Nagaraj M. M. Sangeeta. Sheikh Nagaraj. Manjunath K. Imkong Munna. Wasim Ahmed. Ruhi Tasneem. Manjuna Devegoda. Punita CH. Ramchandra Ulla. Abhijit N. Rao. Prashant H.H. Kiran K. Raghvendra Diya. Raghvendra. Bhanu Kumar. C. Srinivasulu. Krishnappa Vijay. Nitin Bhandari. Prasad Reddy. P. Raghu. Hi, please clap. Dharmadev Singh. Dharma. Padmavati K. Shakira Banu. Kiran Kumar Reddy. Lingamurthy G. Rupa L. Manish Chandrasekhar, Jaya Ravi Thodla, Shabana Kodamani, Jayaprakash S, Anil Kumar N, Vishal Virendra Sangvi, M. Mola Rao, B. Chetan Kumar, Geeta P. Krishna, Nagendra Narasimha Nayak, Jeevan Kumar N, Lokesh Gun Reddy, Narayan K.K., Lakshmi Jaising, Shankar Kirana. I have all the club fights have been felicitated. Is anyone left? Thank you so much, sir. I would like to call Namda for a word of thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for making it, taking it out of your busy schedule to come to Emphasis and gracing this occasion and this initiative. So thank you so much. And we have 2 other locations in Bangalore, and we look forward to having you there for the same session. We will check your schedule and probably connect with you on that. That will be the pleasure is all ours, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Raj Shekhar Pire, for gracing and felicitating Club 5 in Potions. And I know it's another, 4 months, and you yourself would be in the same category. So we look forward to felicitating you as well once you reach that mark. Thank you, audience, for being here. And without all of you, this initiative wouldn't have taken this shape. So thank you all. And all the Club 5 Infosians who collected their memento later, without the certificate, please give your names, the employee numbers. We will ensure that your certificates reach you. So thank you so much. And I'll call all the Club 5 Infosians in 2 batches for a group photograph with our guest today, and Raj Shekhar Pire.